Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. This is the 11th part of What If Deku Was Sanji's Reincarnation, My Heroes Reborn. The author of this great fan FIC is Emma. I will leave links to them and original story in the description. Chapter 11, Break in Between the Games. Izuku was unsure why Todoroki wanted to talk to him, but he knew it was serious. So you brought me here now, what? Asked Izuku. Todoroki just stared at him. Maybe we should get something to eat, said Izuku. But Todoroki just kept staring. You know how my quirk works, right? Asked Todoroki. Yeah, you use ice from your right side and fire from your left, said Izuku. It's actually quite amazing. I mean, it's common for ice users to start freezing up while fire user can get overheated. I think you get it, said Todoroki. So what is this about? Asked Izuku. I know you haven't been using your quirk much in the games, said Todoroki, just the abilities you gained in your past life. I did use my quirk once, he admitted. Todoroki nodded. I've heard things about you and All Might, and I wanted to ask you. Ask me what? Asked Izuku. Are you All Might's secret love child or something? Asked Todoroki. Izuku started in shock. He was so shocked that when he was finally able to say something, he wasn't even speaking Japanese. What? Of course not. Then again, that is what the secret love child of All Might would say. He cried out in English. Todoroki was just confused. Why were you speaking English? Asked Todoroki. I was sorry, I didn't notice, said Izuku, blushing a little. The other world I came from, English was the most common language, so I'm now completely fluent in it. I see, said Todoroki. But why would you think that about me? I mean, said Izuku, still freaking it out over the idea. Todoroki sighed. Even if it's not that case, there is something between you two that you're not supposed to talk about, he said. Izuku was quiet, which was clear for Todoroki that he hit the nail on the head. I am the son of Endeavor. I'm sure you know him as the number 2 hero, and if you're connected to All Might, the number 1 hero, that means I have more a reason to beat you, said Todoroki. Izuku didn't know what to say. He's ambitious and won't stop until he beats All Might and become the top hero, said Todoroki. Izuku sighed when he said that. Tell me, have you heard of quirk marriages? Asked Todoroki. Alarm bells rang in Izuku's head. He was getting a bad feeling, a very familiar bad feeling. Todoroki was explaining what quirk marriages were, about how in the old days they were common to create children with amazing quirks. Endeavor used his money to buy his mother from her family just because of her quirk. Izuku was shaking and gritting his teeth as he explained this. And now my father wants me to usurp All Might, said Todoroki. Izuku put a toothpick in his mouth, completely entering Sanji mode. I refuse to be a tool, said Todoroki. Good, muttered Izuku. This caught Todoroki off guard. I know exactly what you're going through, said Izuku, though I should point it wasn't this life, but my past one. What do you mean? Asked Todoroki. What I'm about to tell you is something you can't repeat to anyone. The other members of my group knows, but no one else, said Izuku. It should be noted, had Izuku been using observation haki at the moment, he wouldn't have told him, because Bakugo was listening in. You know how inconsistent the technology of my old world was, said Izuku. Sailing ships and cyborgs, said Todoroki. There was even crazier technology, but it was kept secret. A kingdom called Germa. Their leader was a mad scientist bent on partial global domination, said Izuku. Partial? Asked Todoroki. He didn't want the whole world, just one ocean, said Izuku. I'll explain another time. Todoroki nodded, realizing that the world that Izuku was vastly different than Earth. One of the pieces of unbelievable technology there was genetic engineering. said Izuku. The leader made his children into living weapons, smarter, tougher and completely erasing their emotions, except for one, the one that was born completely normal. Said Izuku, me. Todoroki just stared at Izuku. I just said I was born completely normal, everything else I gained as an adult. Said Izuku. How do I know you're not making this up? Asked Todoroki. How do I know you're not doing the same? Asked Izuku. Todoroki didn't answer. The while being a reject thing is a bit more complicated. My mother took a drug to make sure myself and my brothers were born human, and it only worked for me, and made her very sick until she died years later. Said Izuku, thought you should deserve to know that at least. My mother. Said Todoroki, all my memories I have of her, are her crying. So she hated my left side so much that one day she poured boiling water on my face. Izuku eyed his face and there was indeed a horrible burn scar on his face. Okay. I think we should just agree that it's a wash and both of them are bastards who drove our mothers over the edge. Said Izuku. Todoroki nodded. However, I should tell you this. Because of your connection to All Might, I will beat you. Without using my left side. Said Todoroki, I refuse to use his power in battle. And I plan to show him and the world that. Aren't there other ways to spite him though? Asked Izuku, holding yourself back isn't doing you or anyone else favors. Todoroki just glared at him, then he walked away. Izuku took a breath and slipped out of Sanji mode. Look, I get your reason for wanting to be the best, probably more than anyone else in the world. Said Izuku, but so many people have been supporting me since I came to UA and it's been my dream to be a hero ever since I was child. I have to become number one for them and myself. That is why I'm coming back right at you. I will defeat you. No matter what. Katsuki gritted his teeth as he left, making sure to use a different hallways so the two didn't see him. Meanwhile, Hibiki was walking towards the cafeteria, wanting to check in with his 5 students, just in case they had some stress to deal with. So, been memeing? Asked Hibiki. That's ridiculous. What would make you think I've been doing that? Asked Aiko, JK. I've already made the perfect meme with my ancient zombie meme account. Hey Hibiki. Said Mashireo, I need to talk. Sure, what is it? Asked Hibiki. I don't know if I should continue on to the last part. Said Mashireo. Is this about that race? Asked Hibiki. Partly. I mean, I feel like I shouldn't have gotten second place. Said Mashireo, I mean, I thought I was going to get disqualified, but getting second without even leaving the track, that is beyond lucky. But it's not just that, is it? Asked Hibiki. I can't remember the second part. Said Mashireo. What do you mean? Asked Hibiki. That guy, his quirk, it did something. Said Mashireo. That's not good. Aiko said rather awkwardly. Both Mashireo and Hibiki looked at the device on his belt. Someone had to say something. Pointed out Aiko. So he made you join him? Asked Hibiki. Mashireo nodded. Near the end I did regain my senses, but it wasn't enough. He said. So basically you feel like you have blind luck the entire time? Sighed Hibiki. Yeah. Said Mashireo, the others worked hard in the other competitions, I just got by. Momo did, the other 3. Said Aiko, let's just say Yar. Both of them looked at Aiko. Don't say that around Izuku. Said Hibiki. Played dirty? Asked Mashireo. Oh yeah. Said Hibiki, it was actually kind of funny. Even so, it's half expected for Izuku to play a little dirty after he got the 10 million points. Said Mashireo, I didn't even get to decide if I wanted to help him or not. It's up to you what you want to do. Said Hibiki, you can make up for everything, or you can bow out with honor. Do what you feel is right. Either way I'm sure it will work out. Yeah. Sighed Mashireo. Hey, I'm going to send something to cheer you up, said Aiko. That was when Mashareo's phone dinged. What is it? Asked Mashareo. Something I made after Bakugo gave his speech. I'm sure you're going to love it. I made the special effects bad on purpose, said Aiko. Mashareo took out his phone and it was a video. There was text and now Katsuki Bakugo's opening speech at the UA Sports Festival. Goofy music played as Bakugo's head was poorly photoshopped on the body of a man in a rather nice suit dancing. Said dance was flipping the bird in various way. Also the sports arena was clearly green screened in, but looked a bit off center. Hasn't gained that much traction yet. But we'll see, said Aiko. I don't know how to feel about this, said Mashareo. So you're saying that wasn't his speech in a nutshell? Skid Aiko. It is, but it's a bit, said Mashareo. Immature? Asked Aiko. You don't go online much, do you? Mashareo could only sweat drop. Come on, we should really get some lunch, said Hibiki. The two headed to the cafeteria and ran into Izuku along the way. I'm surprised you're late to lunch, said Hibiki. Something came up, said Izuku. They got the cafeteria. That was when they saw an angry Momo trying to attack Kaminari and Mineta. She was being held back by Shoji while most of the other girls of the class tried to get him to let her go. Don't you dare they to trick me into that. I know you're lying. You will pay for it, you too, yelled Momo. The two had tried to trick her into having her and the other girls dress up as cheerleaders using the fact that she's been so busy with the sports festival and the fact she was vice class rep. However, they didn't expect that Momo gained much more instant hatred of Mineta. Long story short, it involved his height, and for the best that's all that will be said for now. The three stared at the sight in front of them. As your counselor, I recommend you get lunch elsewhere, said Hibiki, giving them some cash, my treat. Are you going to do something? Asked Izuku. I'm obligated to do something, sighed Hibiki, but honestly, I think can all agree, strong angry women are scary. Run away, said Aiko. Run away and never look back. The two teens nodded in agreement and slowly left the cafeteria. Thankfully Izuku found a food stall outside Seldonbori. Mashareo was still unsure if he wanted to do when it came time. Hey, what's wrong? Asked Izuku. I'll explain later, sighed Mashareo. Vicious win, yelled someone walking by. That guy totally dissevered it, said another. They're going to be talking about that for a while, said Izuku. You don't think I went too far, do you? Said Mashareo. I did, didn't I? Asked Izuku. I didn't see what you did, said Mashareo. What? How? Said Izuku. I'll explain later, said Mashareo. Izuku sighed. After having lunch, they went back to the stadium. Thanks to the fact that there were other events for fun, all of the other students joined them. In the stadium, Momo was still glaring at the pervert duo. Oh, come on. Those cheerleading outfits weren't so bad, said Toru. They're not, and I do find them cute, but dragging in everyone else is unforgivable, yelled Momo. Wait, did she just admit she thought they were cute? Asked Mina with a sweat drop. It should be noted that her past life had a thing for dressing up in costumes. So yeah, she wouldn't have minded her but for the others. All right. Before the recreation games, we're going to be drawing lots for the final tournament, said Midnight. Almost everyone in the tournament was excited for it. Excuse me, said Mashareo, but I wish to withdraw. What? Said almost everyone in shock. This isn't about the race, is it? Asked Izuku. I mean, sure, your lack of a sense of direction in the end, but you weren't disqualified, said Ida, who deeply empathized with his problem. mostly because he was to track him down several times during the last couple weeks. That's only one of the reasons. During the cavalry battle I barely remember anything. It was that guy's quirk, said Mashireo. I didn't earn either spot, it was because of blind luck, not of any skill on my part. But, said Izuku, you got in because you had a plan, said Mashireo. I don't know if I would have said yes to that plan or not. But it still would have been better than that. I even talked about with Hibiki. And he said I should do what I feel is right. The other four in the group were quiet, happy that he had less talked it over with Hibiki. What was also unexpected was that when the lone member of the team from Class 1B, Shota, mostly agreeing with Mashireo. I don't know what it's like to have blind in the first round, but I agree with the second round, said Shota. All of this talk is naive, said Midnight. It's really turning me on. Did she just say it's turning her on? Thought all of the students in shock and horror. All right, Ojiro and Shota are out of the competition, said Midnight. However, there wasn't a fifth place team due to the scheming of the pirate team. So we need some time to determine who will get in. This just made the four members of the team sweat drop. That name is going to stick, isn't it? Asked Achiko. It is, said Tokoyami. Don't worry, I'll win it for you, Aoyama said to Mashireo. Being the last member of the team unsurprisingly didn't withdraw, he was an attention seeker. However, Mashireo was talking with the other four who were assuring him that everything was fine. Don't worry. I'll get as far for both of us, said Toru. You did your best, there's nothing to be ashamed of, said Momo. And if one of us fights him, we'll beat him, said Achiko. Aoyama sighed at this. After a few minutes, all right. It was determined that Team Tetsu were the ones that held on their points the longest until the end of the match, said Midnight. It was decided that Tetsu and a girl named Ibara Shiozaki would go on to round 2. And soon enough they drew lots on who would go up against who. Ida found out he was going up against Toru. I'll do my best against you, said Toru. However, Ida once again sensed the glare, trying to figure out where it was coming from. Momo saw that she got Tokoyami and the two looked at each other, sizing him. Who the hell is Uraraka? Asked Bakugo, seeing the name of who he was against. Hey! Yelled Achiko. Oh, pink cheeks! Said Bakugo. Achiko blared at him harshly. Izuku was looking at his matchups. He saw that his was the first match against Shinso. Not only that, but he saw if he won, he would face off against Todoroki. So you're Midoriya? Said a voice. Izuku turned and saw it was Shinso. So tell me, have you been having fun? He asked Izuku, or do you prefer fighting dirty like you did in the cavalry battle? Izuku was about to say something back. However, Mashireo showed up and covered Izuku's mouth with his tail. That's enough, said Mashireo. Izuku was confused. Shinso just shrugged and walked away. You have to be careful with him and his quirk, said Mashireo. Izuku wasn't sure what was going on, but he knew that Mashireo knew more than him. And the recreational games got started. The ones in the tournament were allowed to participate if they wanted to, but Toru and Shiro were the only ones in the tournament who did so. Everyone else did their own way to ready for the matches. Soon enough, it was the first match, Izuku versus Shinso. Hey, sorry I haven't gotten a chance to say hi yet, said All Might, showing up. Yeah, said Izuku, blushing a little. I saw what you did to the robot, said All Might. Yeah, said Izuku, I wasn't sure how much power I used, honestly. I wasn't sure if Haki would do the trick, but it did work. All Might nodded. I know it's been hard for you since regained your past life memories. I honestly don't know if the last match was a good idea, said Izuku. Nonsense. There will be times when someone has to fight dirty, said All Might. Even you, said Izuku. Maybe a couple times. He replied, blushing a little, but still that showed how much you know about strategy. I only know so much because of my past life, said Izuku. Their abilities, and they always have been, see it that way. I mean, I've heard stories about your counselor before he regained his past life memories, said All Might. He wasn't always the technological genius. I know, he told me, said Izuku. Did he tell you about the incident with his phone? Asked All Might. I just heard he couldn't use Amazon. What happened with his phone? Asked Izuku with a sweat drop. You know, just let his assistant tell you, said All Might. She seems like the type to tell you these things. Yeah, she keeps wanting a chance to tell us the pants story, said Izuku with a sweat drop. Yeah, I've heard that one too, said All Might. I know, I got this, said Izuku. All Might smiled at Izuku. All right, he said. Izuku turned and got ready for the first match, hoping wouldn't blow it. After it would take just one mistake to blow it. One mistake that both his personalities would easily make. Especially considering how Shinso's quirk works. As it would just take one response for it to work, and insulting a friend would be the thing to rile both personalities up. All Izuku could hope that wouldn't fall into that trap, because it was going to be a tough one to avoid. That will be it for this part. I hope everyone enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and comment if you want part 12. If you want to hear more from me, subscribe. I hope to see you all in the next one.